We all think of electric vehicles as our clean, green solution, don't we? No tailpipe, no emissions, no problem. Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into a hidden environmental cost of going electric. It's a cost that has nothing to do with the exhaust pipe, but everything to do with the very things that make an EV, well, move. We're talking about the friction paradox.
You've heard this a million times. It's the core promise of the entire EV revolution. For decades, anytime we talked about car pollution, we were only looking at what came out of the back. And because of that, it's easy to see EVs as the undisputed heroes in our climate story.
But here's the twist. This is the part of the story we've all been overlooking. See, while we were so focused on cleaning up the air, another kind of pollution was quietly taking over, one that's invisible, pretty toxic, and weirdly enough, directly tied to the very features that make electric cars so amazing.
So, let's start by just peeling back this whole zero-emission idea. It turns out you can get rid of the tailpipe, absolutely, but you can't get rid of the basic physics of a heavy car rolling down a road.
Now check this out, because this is where it gets really interesting. On the left, you've got the old enemy, tailpipe emissions from burning fuel. EVs, boom, they eliminate that completely. But look at the right side. We're talking about non-exhaust emissions. This is all the gunk that comes from the simple physical wearing down of tires, brakes, and even the road itself. And while EVs are great for reducing brake dust, they dramatically, and I mean dramatically, increase tire wear, which creates a storm of invisible microplastic pollution.
And here is the number that it'll blow your mind. Recent studies have found that the tiny particles shed from tires can be up to 1,000 times greater than what comes out of a modern filtered tailpipe. Let that sink in. 1,000. It's like we fixed the leaky faucet only to discover we've got a massive crack in the foundation.
So the billion-dollar question is, why? Why on earth do electric cars shred their tires so much more than a regular gas-powered car? Well, the answer comes down to two of their most famous features, their incredible weight and their instant power.
To really get this, we have to talk for just a second about a field of science called tribology. It sounds fancy, but all it means is the science of how things wear out when they rub together. And right now, EVs are giving us a masterclass in how to make things wear out fast.
This chart just lays it out perfectly. In a gas car, the heavy part is the engine. In an EV, it's that massive battery pack, which makes the whole car about 20 to 30% heavier. Then you've got the power. A gas car has to kind of build up speed. In EV, you touch the pedal and you get 100% of its power right then and there. So you have a much heavier car slamming down much more force instantly. For a tire, that is just a brutal combination.
And just to put a number on that heaviness, a typical EV battery pack all by itself can weigh up to 700 kilograms. That's like having a fully grown moose just sitting on the floor of your car all the time. All of that extra weight is pressing down on those four little patches of rubber that connect you to the road.
And here's what that instant power does. Every time you accelerate in an EV, that huge surge of torque creates what's called a micro slip. The tire literally shears and grinds against the asphalt at a microscopic level. It's like you're taking a piece of sandpaper to your tires every single time you step on the accelerator, releasing a constant, invisible puff of rubber particles.
Okay, but this isn't just a physical problem, a bit of rubber dust. What's hiding inside that dust is a much more sinister story. This is where we go from a physical problem to a full-blown chemical crisis.
So here's how it works. To keep tires from getting brittle and cracking, manufacturers add a protective chemical called 6-PPD. Think of it like a preservative. The problem is, when that 6-PPD gets ground off the tire and is lying on the road, it reacts with the ozone in the air around us, and it transforms into something totally new, a highly toxic compound called 6-PPD quinone. And this stuff isn't just toxic in a lab. It has absolutely devastating effects in the real world. For years, scientists out in the Pacific Northwest were mystified by why coho salmon were dying in huge numbers every time it rained. They finally found the killer. It was 6-PPD quinone washing from the roads right into the streams. We were poisoning entire ecosystems with our tires and had absolutely no idea.
And what's really wild is that some of the most celebrated engineering marvels in electric vehicles are actually making this problem worse. It's a classic case of a solution in one area creating a brand new problem somewhere else.
Take regenerative braking. It's an incredible technology. It recaptures energy and saves your brake pads from wearing out. That's a huge plus. It cuts down on metallic brake dust. But where does all that braking force go? It's all being channeled through the tires. So to slow down that super heavy car, we're essentially just trading one kind of pollution, brake dust, for another, even more toxic kind, tire dust.
And it's the same story with these special low-rolling resistance tires that help you squeeze every last mile out of a charge. To make them super efficient, but also grippy enough to be safe, engineers have to use all sorts of complex chemical cocktails in the rubber. So we're kind of stuck in a loop where every gain in efficiency could come with a hidden toxic price tag.
So, is this all just bad news? Are EVs a lost cause? Not at all. Now that we finally get the problem, there's this incredible wave of innovation and new regulation that's starting to tackle it head-on. The industry is, quite literally, reinventing the wheel.
A huge turning point is this new Euro 7 standard in Europe. For the first time in history, regulations are going to set limits not just on tailpipe emissions, but also on the particle pollution from tires and brakes. This is a complete paradigm shift. It officially redefines what a clean car even means.
And that new rule is fueling a massive race for solutions. You have scientists developing tires using sustainable materials like dandelions. You have chemists hunting for a safe replacement for 6-ppd. And you even have startups creating these amazing devices that use static electricity to capture the tire dust right as it flies off the wheel.
You know, this really brings us to a perfect summary of where we are right now. The incredible engineering achievement of this last decade, hands down, has been the battery. We figured out how to make it powerful, cheap, and everywhere. We basically solved the energy storage problem.
But in solving that one massive challenge, we've uncovered the next one. It's becoming obvious that a truly sustainable car needs more than just a clean source of power. It needs a clean way to interact with the world around it. Which leaves us with a pretty big question. If the revolution of the 2020s was the battery, is the revolution of the 2030s going to be the tire?